Greetings and welcome to Wizards of Fun. My name is Eric, and we're back from SorceryCon 3. It feels like forever ago, but I don't think it's been too long. It's just been a couple weeks since we got back from Indianapolis for SorceryCon 3. Again, I'm just so grateful that I was able to go. I was there helping film the event, so as I continue to review and edit that footage, there was a lot of it. We are going to start with uploading my constructed matches. So we're going to be doing some commentary here on my round one. This is the third day of SorceryCon, but the first day of the competitive constructed event, the constructed champions, I think is what it was called. And I am playing the Necromancer water deck with a splash of air. It's not exactly CJ's dank magic, but it essentially is. I'll post the deck list below in case you're curious, but I'd essentially seen blue magic and then kind of tweaked it a bit, just very, very slightly. It's essentially that deck. I think CJ's deck that he ended up taking first place with, if you look at that deck list, is much stronger because it's running things like Whirling Blades and Grapple Shots in the main board, which mine is not. So I essentially just have air in order to be able to access some cards in my collection. We are facing against Joey G, who is a top player from, I believe, the Columbus, Ohio play group. When playing against Bruce from Golden Eagle Cards, he did mention that Joey G is in his play group, so I believe they're from the same local game store. This is my first time actually really interfacing and meeting Joey G, but I did commentate his match against Sunny in Las Vegas 2025 when they were in the top 8. So going into this match, I already know that he is a top player. And he's also playing an archetype that I know nothing about, which is Archimago. Wow. People call him Magoo or Archie. Essentially, Archimago is wanting to recast things from your own graveyard. And it's a very, very powerful avatar that I have no experience with. My play group just doesn't really play it. And I'm a pretty casually competitive player, so I don't have many reps online in general. So, yes, going into this match, to be frank, I was expecting a loss. However, it's a good opportunity to learn. We've got our starting hand here. We are going first. You might notice that my Necromancer is different. There was another YouTuber at the event. His name is Will. And he had offered to let me play with his alt art Necromancer. So you see I have it here. I did eventually swap it out because I was worried that it was going to have reflection issues with the camera. In real time, I wasn't really able to confirm, but so you can see me here. I go, hey, can I just swap this out? So shout outs to Will, and sorry, Will, I think I told you, hey, this wasn't working on the camera. It looks like it actually was working, so I apologize. I had assumed this is probably not a good idea in case it makes it hard to see the match, so I decided to swap it. But shout outs to Will, super nice guy. Got to meet him and talk with him a lot, and sorry I didn't end up using your avatar the whole time here. I was worried it wouldn't work. All right, so starting off doing the Necromancer thing, he plays the, what is the name of it? Mount Ursur. Essentially, it says that if you were to die, you flee to here instead and gain ward. So really, really cool Earth card that I'm not super familiar with. Again, I'm more of a, because I'm such like a water mono player, it's kind of all I know. So I'm trying to branch out and learn other archetypes to improve my game. But at the time of this recording, a lot of the cards he's about to play, including some basic cards like Earthquake, I am just not familiar with. All right, so we are running the 3 towers, which give you an extra mana the turn that they're played. But Joey does call out that Order of the Sacred Oak, which I tried to cast, requires 2 water thresholds. So I ask, hey, do you mind if I take that back? I'm sorry. This being sorcery, he's being very cool. He didn't have to do that. He's under no obligation to allow takebacks. It's another thing I would highly advise players before they start. As casual as sorcery is, it's probably worthwhile asking your opponent, hey, how are you on takebacks? Like, as long as there's no new info, do you mind if I play something and then take it back if I'm not slow playing? You'll see in some of my later matches, if you end up watching all of my matches from this event, that there was a match where that would have been worth doing. So that's in a few games, so we don't have to talk to that here. But Joey being very friendly, and he's such a strong player, I think he doesn't mind so much that I took it back. So I instead cast a Babbling Brook, which disables my minions, so I can't move them if I wanted to. He plays a Gnome Halls just in front of that. which prevents anything with power 3 or higher from entering, which is very good against what I'm doing. I've got big 3 power plus water creatures. A hand with a swap. Order the Sacred Oak, a couple of Koi Nixies. One of my Koi Nixies in my hand here is an alternate art. You'll see. I'll have to put a photo up. This is my old Greg alternate art. Shoutouts to Emerald, who I met at the event, and we actually bumped into each other at the in the elevator. But we were already talking on Facebook because I saw that she posted this alt art on Facebook, and I said, "Hey, I'd love to buy this," and we started talking, and then. Yeah, I happened to bump into her and just be able to pay her cash right there. So, definitely awesome to, I think it's really cool that alt art is allowed in competitive events. As long as the name and the threshold and the rules text is not covered up, I believe that it is okay. So, and then, learning from my ignorance here. Well, he was also playing Earth, so I wasn't certain he was going to be playing Fire, to be fair, but I had moved both of my skeletons on top of my Babbling Brook, which he pings both easily with his desert, and then plays a landmass to be able to get another site out in the form of what I believe is active volcano. So now he's got 3 fire threshold in a single turn. Pretty cool. Tapping to draw a site here. I've got a Lugbog Cat, Order the Sacred Oak, Swap, Nixie, Symmetric Suffering. So because he's playing Archimago, I don't get the impression that he's going to really give me a target for the Symmetric Suffering, which is unfortunate, which basically allows me to sacrifice up to a minion, I believe an aura and an artifact, and then they have to do the same. So I'm more expecting that I'll probably use it for either artifact removal or maybe an aura, but probably not. So it's kind of a dead card as far as I know here. Tapped to draw a site, drew me a Maelstrom, which is always interesting to have. The option to pull things in at the start of my turn. Now that I meet the threshold, I do cast just Order the Sacred Oak, and I just cast it on top of my Necromancer. I suppose I know that I won't be able to get into the Gnome Hollows anyway. I'd rather not stack them both onto the same site in case he has some sort of effect that I'm not considering. Again, I don't have a lot of reps against Earth, so I'm just scared. And I believe that's another active volcano. So he plays that, and then Chains of Prometheus comes down. Essentially, it reads, whenever a player draws a card, they have to tap their strongest minion. So now it's clear that his strategy is not wanting to play minions. So any cards that I have that say, you know, Mesmerism and things like that, I really don't have any targets for them. And then whenever he draws a card, he has to tap down his strongest minion as well, but he doesn't have any. I do get to choose which one to tap down if they're of the same power, but Koi Nix is only 2 power, so the Order of the Sacred Oak is going to stay tapped here. Looks like we drew a Failed Mutation, which is, again, all of these cards are great, assuming they can actually move onto your opponent's sites and hit them, which in this case with the Gnome Halls I can't. So I just opt to use the one site that I have in my hand, which is a Maelstrom, play it over to the side here, just giving myself the option in case I do need to pull everything over. I'm going to start kind of building over to the right here, getting kind of a pool of water. So just allow me some options of movement at the start of my turn. It also pulls in all of his minions, assuming he's on water. So if I do cast like an Atlantean Fate, sometimes the Maelstrom can work out. It's a very circumstantial card. Sometimes you play it not really knowing how it's going to be utilized until the opportunities present themselves. But of course, with things like Thin Ice and things like that, it just gives you a lot of agency in how you want to move the board around, which is just a very powerful thing in a game like Sorcery, where positional tactics is the entire game. It's part of the reason I really, really love water. I'm just able to pull and push things as I see fit, it feels like, as long as I pull the right pieces here. Looks like we're doing a judge call here. And I forget exactly what I asked here, so let's listen.
Apparently does.
I'll
move this here.
I think I'm considering swapping my Order of the Sacred Oak with his Chains of Prometheus. I was trying to see if I could use swap to get around the Gnome Halls restriction, but swapping them is considered entering.
I'm gonna cast a lug bug cat back here.
Unfortunately.
Pass to you.
Got a Lugbog Cat. I'm not exactly sure why I want it in the back. Maybe I'm thinking... I think I just want to cast my mana, or spend my mana, and then I have it as an option for swapping, which he probably now knows. I mean, this is a strong player. He probably knows when I asked, probably knew that when I asked the judge. All right, so I was going to go ahead and ping for Firebolts, right?
Sounds good.
One on each skeleton and then one on the Sacred Oak. And now he has that in the grave to potentially cast again.
Okay.
It is Firebolts. I'm checking on my phone here. Yep, shoot 3 projectiles in the same direction, one at a time.
I will not use the Maelstrom of
All right, so my turn. The Lugbog Cat is tapped. Order the Sacred Oak is now untapping. Koi Nixie, old Greg there is under the Babbling Brook. Looks like we're opting to draw a sight, which is a Thin Ice, which is one that we love to see. However, it usually is preferred when you're pulling in your opponent's minions, and he has none. So really, the most enticing cards in my hand are more something like Swap, just so we can get something over on his side. But again, I can't move my really, really strong stuff. Thin Ice goes here. But I'll have to be careful too, because if I want to move, it's actually kind of a rough position to have my Thin Ice right there, because if I want to move anything onto his side, it has to go through that Thin Ice now. So looking at this, it's actually kind of rough. Or if I'm going to do it, I have to make sure, you know, maybe I push and pull them onto the side and then move and attack immediately so they're not pushing me back onto the Thin Ice. Luckily, Thin Ice only triggers at the end of my turn, so it's not like he can push them onto my Thin Ice and then end his turn killing me. But this is where it feels scary casting,
and I think that's all I got this time.
yeah, and then just confirming that I get to choose which of the two will be tapped. So the Lugbog Cat really is just going to sit in the back and probably be tapped until I find like a Ruler of Thule or some way to get it to the other side or to swap it. It's really there to soak up the effect of Chains of Prometheus to allow my failed mutation to be able to get a swing in. And the camera almost, you guys might be able to see better than I haven't really been actively trying to focus on his hand. Plays a landmass, which allows him at a sight to come down this turn. Another active volcano. Hell yeah. Brian Smith was also at this event, so I actually had him sign my foil copy of Active Volcano. Super nice guy. In my most recent video, if you haven't watched it, I did a recap of SEG Portland, as well as a Beasts of the Bay and Rose City Sorcery collaborative charity event that we did. It's in the same video, but I recommend you go check it out if you haven't. Particularly the interview with Brian Smith. He gave me a really, really good interview talking about his childhood and
Okay, I'll go ahead and do
growing up with art in the
I'll untap everything and then we'll.
household, and yeah, just a super cool guy to interface with. It was great to see him
Oh yeah.
again here at the event. And he remembered me. I was really happy. He's like, hey, good to see you again. That was so cool. What a cool small community the sorcery community is, right?
When I do move and attack, the attack doesn't.
That I'm on a first name basis with Brian Smith. Pretty cool. No. So then, yeah, I'm just asking questions about how Root Spider works, because again, I don't have a lot of reps against Earth in general. And yes, what I'm confirming is just, so if I go to move and attack that desert, does the attack happen? And the answer is no. He basically gets onto the site and then freezes like a fish and falls onto the sand, if you think of it thematically that way. Another card we don't really need to see here, we got Pied Piper, which gives me control of all of the 1 power minions in the realm. I have them all, and he has only Root Spider. So the only thing I could do here, now that I'm looking at it, is Symmetric Suffering could be used to get rid of his Root Spider, which is great because he kind of has evasion being underground there. So tap to draw a sight, we get a Lighthouse. So I forget what my past self does here, but I imagine I'm paying 3 here to swap, or no, sorry, to Symmetric Suffering this skeleton. Yes, I pay 1 to make the skeleton, pay 3. We're going to Symmetric it. Sacrifice your Root Spider. It's a great way to get around that evasion. Really like that card. That worked out.
I will then move and attack
because I cannot swap it because it's the targeting doesn't work because he's underground. Swap would be really broken if it didn't care about the locations. So I'm able to move an attack for 4, which feels pretty good. Failed mutation. I got kind of a nice lineup there, ready to start moving it onto his side. Of course, with both of his gnome halls in the front, if he does decide to play something like an earthquake or something to that effect, he'll be able to kind of reshuffle potentially my thin ice and his gnome halls to be in a preferable position. So I can only guess the things he want to do. See him kind of rearranging my setup here. It can be a little tight at events, finding the right space. I don't want to take up any more space than anyone else. You know, I'm just another player. But I believe after this match or a couple matches from here, I ended up moving to a table kind of in the corner because my camera was a little bit in the way. Yeah, and speak of the devil, there's an earthquake. And then I'm just confirming he has the ability to rearrange those 4 sites in any way he wants, and then anything that's on Earth will get buried. So that gets past the failed mutation. It's not targeting the failed mutation, which is its effect. It says it can't be targeted or damaged by magic. Well, it's not being targeted or damaged. It's just being buried. So that does happen. He does move my thin ice over 1 space, which is interesting. I'm actually curious why he does that, because I was worried, again, my concern about having my thin ice in front of his desert made me worried to like move stuff onto there. And then I think I just wrote down the fact that there's an earthquake in his graveyard there. Because now that I'm looking at it, those cards that are tapped on his side are banished. So I suppose he's already recast them. Okay, I'm deciding to Maelstrom, which is funny. So just kind of shuffle things around. It gets my Order of the Sacred Oak into a preferable position. Cat taps down because of his Chains of Prometheus. Despite being buried, it's still in effect. So let's see, we're at 5 mana. I have the ability to get a 6th mana with a Lighthouse. I'd probably be opting to cast a Dank Umphalos. There's nothing I can swap on his side. I could play a Koinixie, but I don't really see the point. Again, he doesn't have minions, so Koinixie really isn't doing me much good. This actually is a great deck, I think, against... I'm curious how much of his deck is actually trying to be good against the Water Necro. It seems quite good. Gnome Hollows just shuts down a lot of my stuff. Moving Koinixie back up. I play the Lighthouse in the corner, so I'm at 6 mana. I move my Skeleton up. Yeah, and I think I'm just like thinking, all right, I'll probably just play Dank Umphalos and then make another Skeleton and pass. But I'm trying to see if there's something cute I can do, or getting another Koinixie if it's worth it. Yeah, it looks like I just pay 4 to do the Dank Umphalos here. And that's actually pretty good too, being in that spot. Again, I'd be curious to ask Joey, or maybe he explains in this video and I just miss it, but why he moved my thin ice over. Because I was worried to also have my Dank Umphalos on the thin ice. And then the card, I didn't see it. I need to remember. I told myself at my previous events to remind my future self to show the camera my cards in hand, because it makes it obviously easier for me to commentate while I'm trying to commentate on what my previous self was contemplating here. So I didn't quite see that card, but I can see my hand and almost see his hand. I'll try to improve on that where it's I'm not sure what I'm waving at in that shot there. Bury, sure. He just buries my Sacred Oak, which he now has in his graveyard. And I'm just looking up on my end how Archimago actually reads. You can banish 3 magic spells in your cemetery, cast a copy of one of them. So you have to pay for the cast cost, but now that like Gift of the Wolf and Landmass are in there, he can just like, all right, I'll banish all of those to bury something else, or get rid of the bury and cast another Landmass if he wants. Tapping to draw a sight. My Lugwag Cat is continuing to be tapped down every single turn. But now that I've got the Dank Umphalos there, that is a spot where I can cast my creatures. And it's not going on a thin ice. I'm actually kind of relieved that he moves my thin ice in that case, because it just gives me a lane. It is only 1 lane, but it is a lane. All right, looks like we get to see the card. What did I draw?
Look at the next 5.
Shape shift. Nice. On the skeleton. That was already there. All right, we got Archangel Raphael, which is very, very good. Lacuna Entity, which is not great in this matchup. Stag isn't bad.
Bottom anyway.
But I don't think there's any world that we don't play Raphael here.
Into a Archangel Raphael.
And it has no summon sickness.
I think, yeah.
He goes, seems pretty good.
I will board my avatar.
Yeah, I really, really like that card.
These are going on the bottom.
Just, I ward, I mean, even that, I think as I was playing it, I forgot that it gives me that effect too. So not only do I come in with a basically charged, flying, warded airborne unit, I get to ward my own avatar. It's just crazy.
Mana left.
So getting in, he is down to 9.
I'll pay 1 to make a skeleton token.
So although I know he's Archimago and what he, you know, his whole deck is wanting to play almost no creatures on the ground, get a bunch of stuff in the graveyard, big hand, lots of you know, he's definitely gonna have some sort of a line that he can, you know, in my mind, as good as I'm feeling here, like this feels pretty good. I don't know, Quake Nixie's not in the best spot, but Archangel there, the Denku Falls is gonna start cooking. I didn't show the camera my card that I drew, so again, I'll try to get better at that in the future. He Desert Pings my Raphael to get rid of its ward. Desert is just such a great sight. It's better than you would think. And he looks like he's casting Crater Eyes. I need to pull this up. Even in the video, I'm going, how does this card work? I haven't seen this in a while, but essentially I think everything just kind of dies. Does a ton of damage. So on the site that it landed on, it's dealing 10, and then it's dealing 7. The ward does protect from that 7 damage, which is massive. But basically everything else is going to die.
Pay it like this will go into your graveyard after doing this.
It reads, you discard a site as an additional cost, you destroy a target site, and you deal damage to each unit above or below a site in that area of effect. And it's basically a wave of 10, and then 7, and then 4. In this case, so everything gets wiped out, and I believe it destroys my site. Yeah, which I think as I'm doing this, I don't realize that. I'm reading it now, obviously, as I'm commentating. And he passes the turn, so I think I miss it. And I don't recall if that actually screws me up. So even here, yeah, I'm saying, yeah, there's no minions to Maelstrom, but he doesn't remind me that, like, oh no, that's actually dead. So I feel like we do catch it, or he shows me, like, no, you don't have that site, so you're down a mana. That Maelstrom is supposed to be dead. So hopefully that's not a problem. I move that card out of the way. I don't know which one it is. That's the Dank card. So even though that's destroyed, I do still have 6 mana. However, I'm probably getting ready to calculate a 7 mana cost line here.
Oh, okay, let's do that. You're right.
Yep.
And it's not flooded or anything. So
And I'll just flip it over. Yeah. Okay.
I can play. Oh.
Okay. Yep. So he points it out there, which I'm glad he does before I.
This kind of is just.
So then I just ask, hey, sorry, I didn't realize that. Can I just put my lighthouse in the back? I don't want it next to yours.
No, I missed that.
Banished. Yeah, so we caught that in time. That's okay. As long as I caught it before I played some cards here. So I need to update my mana over there on the on the foam. That's okay. We have 6 mana. Yeah, and again, it's just all the interaction. Like, Koi Nixie is basically not going to help me at all. Pied Piper doesn't really do much. So do we just play Order of the Sacred Stag and a
I'll then pay
Polar Explorers?
for a Pied Piper of Hamlin here. And then I'll pay 1 to make a skeleton.
I guess we just do Pied Piper to get something that can move onto his Gnome Hollows.
I'm not crazy. I'm not missing anything.
It's just another way to spend all my mana. Because I could also cast, probably what I'm thinking here is that I could cast the Stag and then Polar Explorers, but then Polar Explorers is susceptible to getting killed. Again, I draw a card for the Dank, but don't show it. Sorry about that. But I think my thinking here is that I cast the Stag with the intention of still getting on his back row, but I don't need the Polar Explorers to be in quite yet. It can come in next turn. So instead, I'll just cast all my mana, get 3 minions on the field. Pied Piper can attack in.
Okay. So ward will fall off the stag.
Yep.
Piper dies.
Man, so he creatorizes me for 10? That's bananas. Kills everything else.
Was I supposed to take damage?
You were warded.
I was warded. So I took 10. Sight goes away.
Yep. So if we weren't warded that first time with my Archangel Raphael, I would be down to 3 here. Just to show the absolute powerhouse that is Craterize. That's insane.
Okay.
So again, yeah, I came into this event with almost no reps. I just had the deck kind of barely built. This is actually my first game playing with it the whole weekend. So my main goal with all of this is just to learn. And from this match and then rewatching it again here, I did and am still learning a lot. Kind of offline in my own time, I'm playing a lot of Sorcery online. Ooh, Atlantean Fate's good, or can be good. Maybe I can turn off some of his Threshold. I believe his Mirror Realm that he had come in is a copy of Gnome Hollows, so he's basically got a full wall of that. So I can disable that and be able to maybe attack in. And yeah, lower your mana there, guy. I'm talking to myself here. Oh yeah, because he destroyed the site again. So even as I'm watching this, I missed it. That's crazy. So I'm down to 5. So I'm just correcting my thresholds here, making sure I'm good to be able to cast what I want to cast. With 5 mana, it's probably tap to draw site. That comes in tapped. I just don't have any interaction. Now, Mismanaged Mortuary is really good. It basically reads that his graveyard becomes my graveyard and mine becomes his. So he will have the ability to cast things from my graveyard. That card is essentially in there specifically for Archimago. I was told that I should add it into my deck, and that's what I did. So it's good to see that, but I won't be able to play it until my next turn. Archie does specifically cast magic spells, so I'm feeling pretty good where most of my graveyard is minions. I do cast the Atlantean Fate, essentially just to turn off his sight. So now his Mount Usar, I think that's what it's called. Let me look it up. He's got Earthquake in the grave, so I'm just keeping that in mind. Yeah, Mount Usar reads, when your avatar arrives at death's door, they flee here and they gain ward. So buys you a turn, essentially. We got a failed mutation. Hey, I actually showed the camera this time. Failed mutation drawn for the Dank Umphalos. Next turn, we can play a Mismanaged Mortuary. I don't believe we have more than 1 magic spell in our graveyard, so that feels pretty good for me. Turns off his graveyard once I'm able to cast that next turn, but this turn, he does have the ability to Earthquake if he wanted to. Looks like he's casting from the hand a Gift of the Wolf to draw a card. You guys probably recognize the cards in his hand more than I, so I won't pretend to know what they all are. And again, I think that's why after this game I moved over to a different table, so the camera was a little bit more bird's eye view, which is was also a good learning experience as a film guy, kind of recording these events. Is if I'm at an event and I ask permission from the judges to set up my camera in a specific spot, they were cool at this event, but
I'm okay with that. This will go back in your hand. That's fine. It's all good.
I'm just trying to play fast because I know you're
oh, I believe we have to redo this a little bit because of the threshold getting shut off by Atlantean Fate. He only has the single Earth threshold in the corner. So he had casted those 2 cards, but he basically just had to cast them in a different order. He wasn't able to cast it. And he asked if he could take that back. I said, absolutely. You're going to beat me anyway. Yeah. All right. Infiltrate. Taking over my Sacred Stag, giving it stealth. And he makes a good point. I was like, well, it's not going to untap anymore because it's not mine. He goes, well, it'll tap when it's my turn because that's now his only minion. So that'll continue to tap even though it's his. You draw a Call of the Sea. Call of the Sea. And of course, doesn't help me much. So we're going to get the Mismanaged Mortuary.
Someone convinced me yesterday to add it
Basically shutting off his graveyard, which feels good.
So this does still provide water threshold.
It comes in flooded, which is hilarious.
Mana,
I don't know why that's the case.
fours,
I don't know flavorfully why that's the case, but I'll take it.
and I'm just gonna make sure
It's a good addition in any water deck.
6 mana.
All right, let's check. All right, we get to see it. Polymorph, Koi Nixie, and Failed Mutation. So Polymorph won't do me anything. Koi Nixie, not much. Failed Mutation's probably fine, right? For 4 mana.
All right, I think either
That's his stag.
Dank to cast one of his cards.
Yeah, we're going to just cast the Failed Mutation. And then I guess I can make a skeleton and pass the turn. Or get a Polar Explorers. I don't know why I would play that right now, though. Again, it's a card you should play the turn you want to attack with creatures that don't have Summon Sickness. So you play the creatures you want to swing with, pass the turn, and then on your following turn when they're all untapped, you play Polar Explorers and swing in. So there's no sense in playing it just to play it here if you're not going to actually swing the turn you do it. So
Okay.
Tankum follows, and we draw a drum roll. What do we get? A Riptide. That's always good to see. Riptide's very good. I can pull in any unit that's next to water, which Atlantean Fate is water. So I can pull his avatar around, whatever we want to do.
14.
Peasant Revolt.
And that kills
Everything elite and unique in the realm.
Dang.
Peasant Revolt. So I think it's everything unique and elite.
Destroy. Okay.
Let me reread this card here. Peasant Revolt reads, destroy everything unique or elite in the realm. Well, okay, so that his Mirror Realm survives because it's a copy of Gnome Hollows, but my Mismanaged Mortuary goes away, so now he has access to his graveyard again, which is very scary. My Atlantean Fate went away, so I do not have the ability to Riptide him in anywhere now,
That makes sense.
because nothing's flooded over there.
Yeah.
The stag dies on his side, but he chooses not to ward my side, obviously.
Darn, that's wild.
I will tap and
So the only thing remaining is the
Yeah.
Failed Mutation being non-elite, and then he casts a...
That gets destroyed. Skeleton's gonna go.
I get he's not casting this necessarily to wipe out my board, but it's Fields of Camelin. It says each player picks 1 minion, destroy the rest. So I choose to destroy my skeleton.
True. 1, 2.
So he wasn't really playing that for max, efficiency.
Say again.
There's probably no way he's gonna get around that as my Necro can make a skeleton every single turn. So
Good. Okay.
does play the Border Militia, which puts a 1/1 foot soldier on every site that is adjacent to, that borders one of my sites, so he gets 3 tokens. He's got the full size promo tokens. Those are cool.
Foot soldiers.
So he's destroyed a couple of my sites this turn. We've had a little back and forth with the Mismanaged Mortuary. So the site destruction is absolutely seeming to be a very strong part of the current meta. Playing things like Garden of Eden and Mismanaged Mortuary specifically to try to shut down what they're doing. And he has things like Craterize, which allowed him to destroy 2 of my sites, and then Peasant Revolt as well. Very good. So we've got a Meat Hook in the hand now. I believe our Dankum Falls hand was a Riptide. We just tapped to draw a site for a Temple of Moloch, which allows you to, each player on their turn can sacrifice 1 thing per turn to gain 2. So can be really good on the home site for myself because I create a skeleton and then sacrifice it and gain 2. So it's great on turn 1, not as great later in the game, but still not bad.
On these 2.
Looks like we're gonna pay 3 for a swap, and we're gonna swap the Foot Soldier and the Failed Mutation. Oh, but I can't because it cannot be targeted by magic. Can't be targeted or damaged by magic, so yeah.
You'd think it'd be enemy magic. Let me check the. Oh, and Balls is gone.
It's the only downside.
To see them, right? Yeah. So it's probably more.
I do have Polymorph, but it doesn't help me against Foot Soldiers.
Oh, bummer.
Oh yeah, and the we missed that. The Dankum Falls is gone because of the Peasant Revolt. So we're missing a lot of triggers here. I hope we're not the only people who play sorcery and miss triggers, because we can't be. I think I think it's just a natural part of the game. There's so many things that happen. There's so many like niche use cases. And then in this case, this is my first match for the whole weekend, so I'm missing all sorts of stuff. So I wouldn't feel bad if you, or I hope we're not the only ones, and I don't think we are. Love that playmat to the left, by the way. It's I think it's Mortality, I think is what it's called. I don't know where that I think it comes in the welcome kit in addition to the playmat I'm playing on here. Shoutouts to Bruce from Golden Eagle Cards. He let me borrow this playmat because usually I go to events and they already have playmats on the tables, but SorceryCon did not. And because I was filming all weekend, I didn't catch that. So I showed up without a playmat, and he let me borrow his really, really cool Apprentice Wizard playmat, which I believe comes in the store welcome kit, so it's quite rare. Yep. I cast a Koi Nixie onto the Babbling Brook and then decide to move an attack. He blocks with one of his foot soldiers naturally. He has access to his full graveyard again, so he's got Border Militia, he's got Peasant Revolt. And again, these are all things that I'm sure as I'm playing, I'm not really considering. It's like you have to consider what's on the board, what's in my hand, what's in my collection, but also in his graveyard. It's too much. I'm just going to try to my best to do the best lines I can on my side, and whatever he's going to do, he's going to do. Again, if you don't have reps against Archimago, I just don't see any world in which you really can, even though they're all right there in front of me. All right, Gigantism, which I believe gives +7, which is crazy. +6 rather. Give an allied unit +6 this turn. And I actually missed that. How is he able to cast for both? Pause. So yeah, I had forgotten that the Mismanaged Mortuary allows him to have his graveyard again. And of course he can just cast Gigantism, and then cast it again. So he gives something +12. So he swings for 13, taking me to door. And then I'm looking at his grave. He's got Earthquake essentially, Peasant Revolt. But swings for 13 on a single turn. Pretty bananas. And Gigantism is 4 mana. Let's make sure he has the 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah. So once he's at 8 mana and has that card in hand, he can give anything +6 and then give it +6 again. That's really, really wild. So yeah, Archie is really trying to get to kind of this stage of the game. At this point, it's really hard for me to really, I don't want to say it's hard for me to come back because the Water Necromancer is very good, but he just has so many options, and as like a stronger player that he is, you know, that's definitely, I can just imagine that it's an archetype that sort of player is really, really strong with, because they just know so many different ways to capitalize on opportunities and use cases that I would not know. Pulling out my collection here since I just got a toolbox, so he probably knows that I have some sort of a silver bullet or toolbox in my hand. But him getting me to door was quite surprising. So you can see I kind of quiet down and focus because I was not expecting to. We were having back and forth. He's craterizing me, he's burying me, he's doing a bunch of stuff. I'm not doing too much, but I'm steadily getting him closer and closer to door. I use Koi Nixie to pull his Foot Soldier over, so I can at least swing in for 4 here. And I think because my failed mutation is next to Archimago, I'm considering if it's worth putting a meat hook onto him, pulling him in, and then they fight, and then I maybe swing in with Koi Nixie, so that'd be 6. So not quite enough, and I think that's where my head is at, where I really wasn't expecting to be at door this turn. So it's having me slow down and have to kind of reevaluate my positioning of my Necromancer being on rubble and in sight of his Archimago. If he wants to cast any sort of fire bolts or anything, he's going to get me. So it's just a lot for me to consider here. And the meat hook feels good, but for some reason in my head, I keep like kind of mistaking it for a grapple shot, which allows you to get pulled into the unit, strike it, and then attack to hit it again. Meat Hook is a tap ability, so it's like I can move an attack with my failed mutation, or I can tap where I stand to pull something else in and fight with failed mutation. You know, it's either way you're tapping it to get the damage in, so it's not the double like he was able to do with his Gigantism or that you would get with a grapple shot. So I can see why the deck that took first place at this event, the Dank Magic by CJ, him adding in a little bit more air threshold than my deck has. I say my deck, but it's a spin-off of his deck, but this version of the deck, right? I'm only running air for my collection, essentially, and the towers are nice for some ramp. Move an attack with my Koi Nixie into his token, move my avatar out of the way. Again, I don't want to be in the way of his Archimago, although I know he probably has a kill spell in hand either way, but I'm at door, so this is really my last turn in my mind. So although he might be saying, hey, like, whatever you're going to do, I'm just going to kill you. He's letting me take my turn, and I'm taking the turn. So a lot going in my head here. I really don't know what I'm supposed to do. I'm also looking at my collection to see what cards I can maybe use, like a Riptide or something, to pull his Archimago away. That wouldn't really work. It would pull into the thin ice, so that's not so good. Again, I don't have any interaction with any minions of his because he doesn't really have any. So I just don't really know what I'm meant to do. We still have a few minutes of time in the round, but I know that this is probably my last turn, so I'm just kind of taking the opportunity. It's like, could we swap something? I mean, we could, but you're just putting his Archimago closer to my avatar, right? All right, decide to just attack for 4. With the failed mutation, there's not much else I'm going to be able to do. I'd move my avatar, so I won't be able to play a site. I pay 2 to get a Polar Explorers, simply to have something on the field. And then a toolbox on my Necromancer, and I pass turn. And I think that's going to be it. I just asked him, do you have it? Yep. Top deck's a Common Sense. Minor Explosion. 2 steps away. 1, 2. There's the game. Joey G. Nice to meet you, brother. I appreciate the match. I hope to get to see you at future events. I'm sure I'll get to record and commentate some of your matches in the top 8 in the future. Also got to meet Bruce, who I believe is also in your local play group. So just great to get to network and meet a lot of the players that I see here online in this community. And I was honored to take a loss against such a strong player, to hopefully knock me into like a lower bracket where I'm playing against players of a closer skill level to my level here. But also got some experience and learned a lot against playing against Archimago. It's terrifying. Archimago and Imposter are the 2 scariest matchups for me right now. So this was a good learning experience, and we're moving on to game 2. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you guys enjoyed this commentary, please leave a like and a comment, and please subscribe if you haven't. And I'll see you guys in game 2. And again, I recorded the whole weekend. I'm in the middle of reviewing and editing all of it. I thank you for your patience. We're going to start with these constructed matches, and those videos will be coming out very, very soon. Thank you so much, and I'll see you in the next one. Take care. Bye-bye.